Welcome, everyone. Get ready, because today we're diving deep into psycho-cybernetics.
By Maxwell Maltz.
That's right, Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, a new way to get more living out of life.
Mm.
We're going to unpack how our self-image shapes our lives.
Mm.
And even more importantly, how to use that knowledge.
To achieve
Yeah, to achieve greater success and happiness.
greater success and happiness.
I like that. So get ready for some aha moments.
What I find fascinating about Maltz is that he was actually a plastic surgeon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, his work gave him this really unique perspective on how our mental picture of ourselves can be just as impactful as our physical appearance, sometimes even more so.
That makes total sense because, we've all heard those stories of people getting plastic surgery but still feeling insecure afterwards. So it sounds like it's not just about changing what's on the outside. It's about transforming how we see ourselves on the inside.
Exactly. And that's really Maltz's core concept, this idea of the self-image acting like a blueprint that guides our actions and our feelings and even our abilities. He tells this incredible story about the psychologist Alfred Adler. You familiar with him?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Well, Adler really struggled with math as a child, and his teacher actually labeled him as dumb in mathematics.
Oh, wow.
And sadly, he internalized that belief.
It's almost like the teacher's words just planted a seed of doubt in his mind, which then grew into this limiting belief that held him back.
Yes, it became a self-fulfilling prophecy until one day something shifted. Adler had a moment of insight, shattered that limiting belief, and his math skills suddenly blossomed.
Wow, that's incredible. It really highlights how much our beliefs about ourselves, even those imposed by others, can actually become self-fulfilling prophecies. It makes you wonder, what limitations are we placing on ourselves without even realizing it?
Absolutely. And that's where Maltz's work becomes so empowering. He shows us that we're not necessarily bound by these limitations. We can actually rewrite those blueprints.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we actually go about changing our self-image?
Well, Maltz brings in another fascinating concept. Cybernetics.
Cybernetic?
Yeah. The study of goal-seeking systems like machines. He argues that our brains operate in a similar way, constantly striving to achieve the goals that we set for them. He calls this our success mechanism.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So you're saying my brain is like a goal-seeking machine? How does that even work? Give me a real-world example.
Sure. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. At first you're wobbly, you fall, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
But each time you try, your brain is actually using those failures as feedback
Okay.
to adjust your approach. And eventually you find your balance and you're off riding like a pro.
So it's like our brain is constantly scanning for feedback, making adjustments, and honing in on what works, even if we don't realize it's happening.
Precisely. And here's the really cool part. Maltz says this success mechanism learns from our successes and tends to forget our failures, focusing on what moves us toward our goals. Think about it. You probably don't dwell on every time you fell off that bike.
Yeah.
You remember the feeling of finally riding freely?
That's so true. And it makes me think about all those times I've given up on something because of a few setbacks. What if I had reframed those as feedback and just kept going?
That's a great question, and leads us to another powerful tool, our imagination.
Okay.
Maltz argues that imagination isn't just daydreaming. It's a powerful tool for shaping our reality. And he tells this amazing story about the chess champion Capablanca, who lost his title to a seemingly less skilled opponent, Alekhine.
I'm guessing Alekhine's secret weapon wasn't just luck.
Definitely not. Alekhine intensely practiced in his mind, playing out different scenarios and strategies.
Oh, wow.
His brain didn't know the difference between imagined and real experiences. And this mental training gave him a crucial edge, allowing him to anticipate his opponent's moves and come up with winning strategies.
So if we can harness the power of our imagination, we can actually start to change our reality.
Exactly. Have you ever mentally rehearsed for a presentation or a difficult conversation?
Oh, all the time. I pace around my apartment talking to myself like a crazy person.
Well, your brain doesn't think you're crazy. It's actually responding to those imagined experiences.
Yeah.
Building neural pathways that make success more likely.
This is blowing my mind. So by simply imagining ourselves succeeding, we're actually training our brains to achieve those outcomes.
Exactly. It's about creating a mental blueprint for success.
Yeah.
But, and here's the catch, often we're held back by limiting beliefs,
Right.
often formed in childhood,
Yeah.
that whisper, I can't, or I'm not good enough.
Ugh. I think we've all experienced those I can't voices at some point. It's like they're holding us back from even trying. But where do these beliefs even come from?
Well, Maltz says they act like hypnotic suggestions, often rooted in early experiences. He talks about a man who wanted to be a public speaker, but felt paralyzed by his appearance.
So his self-image was holding him back.
Exactly. And the solution wasn't changing his looks, but changing his belief. He shifted his focus to the message he wanted to share, and that allowed him to overcome his fear.
That's so inspiring. It's a reminder that we often need to dehypnotize ourselves from these limiting beliefs that are holding us back from our true potential. It's not about ignoring our weaknesses, but not letting them define us.
Absolutely. It's about challenging those voices in our heads and asking ourselves, are they really Trey?
Yeah.
And if not, how can we rewrite that story?
Okay, I'm ready to rewrite my story. Where do we start?
Well, Maltz provides a roadmap for this spiritual facelift, as he calls it. And one of the most important steps is forgiveness.
Forgiveness. How does that tie into changing our self-image? I thought forgiveness was about other people.
It's about both speaking. Maltz argues that holding on to anger or resentment or guilt, even towards ourselves, keeps those wounds open.
So forgiveness is like an emotional detox, releasing us from the grip of the past so we can move forward.
Exactly. It's about choosing to let go of the pain and making space for healing and growth.
This is powerful stuff. It's making me realize that changing our self-image isn't just about positive thinking, it's about deep inner work.
You got it. It's about understanding how our minds work and then using that knowledge to create the lives we truly desire.
This is just the beginning of our deep dive, and I'm already feeling inspired. What else did Maltz have to say about actually putting these ideas into practice?
We had a lot to say about relaxation techniques, using mental imagery and physical relaxation to reduce stress and unlock creativity.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
So we were talking about relaxation techniques.
Yeah, I'm definitely all for a little relaxation.
You too.
But how does that tie into this idea of creating a better self-image?
Well, Maltz believed that taking those mental breaks throughout the day is crucial.
Hmm,
He encouraged people to retreat to a peaceful place in their imagination, even if it's just for a few minutes. He described it as a mini vacation for the mind.
okay. So it's about giving our brains a chance to de-stress and recharge. I can definitely see how that would be helpful. But does it actually impact our self-image?
He argued that when we're constantly stressed, our minds and bodies are in this state of tension, which can make it difficult to see ourselves and our potential clearly.
Okay.
Relaxation allows us to access a calmer, more receptive state,
Hmm.
where we're more open to positive suggestions and new possibilities.
That's interesting. It's almost like when we're stressed, we're wearing these negativity-tinted glasses that distort our perception. And relaxation helps us take those glasses off and see things more clearly.
Exactly. And in that clearer state, we're better able to visualize our goals, practice new behaviors in our minds, and ultimately shape our reality.
Wow.
He even talked about how relaxation can boost our creativity.
So mini vacations for the mind lead to a better self-image and more creativity. Sign me up.
But wait, there's more. He also introduced this concept of shadow boxing.
Shadow boxing, like literally boxing with an imaginary opponent. What does that have to do with self-image?
Not quite. Maltz's shadow boxing is about mentally rehearsing for challenging situations.
Oh, I get it. It's like a dress rehearsal for our minds.
Exactly. He used this great example of a shy salesman who was terrified of social situations. And this salesman used shadowboxing to overcome his fear. He would mentally practice walking into a room, introducing himself, engaging in conversation, all while visualizing himself as confident and at ease.
So he basically created a mental movie of himself succeeding in those situations. Did it work?
It did. By repeatedly practicing in his mind, he built up his confidence and eventually felt comfortable in those real-life situations. He reprogrammed his self-image from shy and awkward to confident and engaging.
I love that. It's a reminder that our brains don't always know the difference between what's real and what we imagine. If we can visualize ourselves succeeding, we're actually taking a huge step towards making it happen.
Absolutely. It's about training our minds to expect positive outcomes. But Maltz doesn't stop there. He goes on to highlight this really interesting concept of viewing crises as opportunities.
Okay, that sounds a little counterintuitive. How can a crisis be an opportunity?
Well, Maltz believed that challenging situations, while difficult, can actually be catalysts for growth. He encourages us to reframe our perspective and see them as stepping stones on our path to self-discovery.
So it's not about pretending that bad things don't happen. It's about choosing how we respond to them.
Exactly. It's about adopting a mindset of courage and action instead of fear and avoidance. He argued that when we face our challenges head-on, we discover hidden strengths and resilience we didn't even know we had.
That's a good point. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Maltz is all about taking control of our minds and using them to create the lives we want.
You got it. And one of the most interesting aspects of his approach is this idea of cultivating a success-type personality.
Okay, tell me more about this success-type personality. Is there a secret formula?
Maltz actually breaks it down using the acronym SUCCESS.
Hmm.
Each letter represents a key trait that contributes to, well, success.
I love a good acronym. Let's break it down. What does the first S stand for?
The first S is for sense of direction. Having clear goals and a vision for where you want to go in life is essential.
So it's not enough to just want to be successful. You have to define what success actually means to you.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and creating a roadmap for your life, rather than just drifting along, hoping for the best.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that. They know they want something more, but they're not sure what it is or how to get there.
That's where the second letter comes in, U for understanding.
Understanding what?
Understanding yourself, your strength, your weaknesses, your values, your motivations.
Okay.
It's about being honest with yourself and accepting all parts of who you are, the good and the bad.
So self-awareness is key to achieving our goals.
Absolutely. When we understand ourselves, we can leverage our strengths and work on those areas where we might need to improve.
Okay. What about the C?
C is for courage, the willingness to take calculated risks and act on your ideas, even when you're afraid.
That's easier said than done.
Eh.
I think a lot of people, myself included, get stuck in their comfort zones and let fear hold them back.
I hear you. But Maltz emphasizes that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite our fears. He believed that stepping outside of our comfort zones is where the real growth happens.
So it's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
Exactly. And here's where things get really interesting. The second C stands for charity.
Charity, as in giving to others. I thought we were talking about personal success.
We are. But Maltz believed that having genuine appreciation for others, recognizing their value and their viewpoints, is a crucial element of success.
I'm curious to hear more about that. How does charity contribute to personal success?
Well, he argues that when we're solely focused on our own needs, we miss out on the richness of human connection and the opportunities that come from collaboration.
That makes sense. We can't achieve great things in isolation. We need the support and collaboration of others.
Exactly. Charity in this context is about cultivating a sense of connection and recognizing that our success is often intertwined with the success of others.
This is really making me rethink my definition of success. It's not just about climbing the ladder and achieving personal goals. It's about building meaningful relationships and contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
You're getting it. And that brings us to the E, which stands for esteem,
Esteem.
as in self-esteem.
Yes. Valuing ourselves and recognizing our worth is crucial.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with self-esteem. We're often so quick to criticize ourselves and focus on our flaws.
That's true. But Maltz argues that we all deserve to feel good about ourselves, regardless of our achievements or external validation.
So it's about recognizing our inherent worth as human beings.
Exactly. And that leads us to the final S, which actually has two meanings.
Two S's. I'm intrigued. What are they? Okay, two S's, what are they?
Well, the first one is for self-confidence, that unshakable belief in our ability to succeed. It's that inner knowing that we can achieve our goals even when faced with challenges. So it's like self-esteem is more action-oriented cousin. Self-esteem is about recognizing our worthwhile. Self-confidence is about believing in our ability to take action and make things happen.
You got it. Self-confidence allows us to take risks, persevere through setbacks, and ultimately achieve our goals.
Okay, I like it. And the second S.
That one is for self-acceptance.
Hmm.
This is about embracing who we are, flaws and all.
Right.
It's about recognizing that perfection is an illusion and that our imperfections are actually what make us unique and interesting.
This is so important. I think we live in a culture that's obsessed with perfection, which can be so damaging. It's like we're constantly comparing ourselves to others and coming up short.
Maltz would agree with you. He believed that self-acceptance is essential for happiness and well-being. When we accept ourselves, we free ourselves from the burden of self-criticism and make space for growth and learning.
This success acronym is such a helpful framework. It's really making me think about the areas of my life where I could be stronger. So we've covered self-image, the success-type personality, even relaxation techniques. What else did Maltz have to say about creating a fulfilling life?
This is where it gets really interesting. He delves into this idea of life stuff.
Life stuff?
Yeah, a kind of vital energy that fuels our growth and adaptation.
Okay, sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So he was inspired by the work of Dr. Hans Selye, who studied stress and its impact on the body. And Selye found that we have these amazing defense mechanisms that help us cope with all sorts of challenges. He called this reservoir of resilience adaptation energy.
So it's like we have this inner reserve of strength we can tap into when things get tough.
Exactly. But here's the thing. This adaptation energy isn't unlimited. If we're constantly bombarded with stress, whether it's from work relationships or even negative thinking, we deplete our reserves. And that's where things can go wrong.
What happens when we run out of life stuff?
Well, Maltz believed the depletion of this vital energy could accelerate the aging process and make us more susceptible to illness. It's like running our engines on fumes. Eventually, we're going to break down.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here. If we want to live long and healthy lives, we need to take care of our life stuff. How do we do that?
That's where those relaxation techniques, positive self-talk, and all those other tools we've been discussing come into play.
Right.
By managing stress, cultivating positive emotions, and nurturing our minds and bodies, we can replenish our reserves and boost our resilience.
So it's a holistic approach, taking care of our mental, emotional, and physical well-being to increase our vitality and longevity.
Exactly. Maltz even highlighted the role of what's called the reticuloendothelial system, or RES, in this process.
The RES, what is that?
It's a network of cells that plays a crucial role in our immune system and overall vitality.
Okay, so it helps us fight off disease and stay healthy.
Yes, and here is where it gets really fascinating. Maltz believed that the RES is stimulated by challenges. He even experimented with a serum he thought might accelerate wound healing.
Oh, really? What did he find? Did the serum work?
Well, the results were interesting. The serum's effectiveness varied greatly from person to person, and he linked this variation to emotional states. Those who were more optimistic and resilient tended to heal faster, while those who were stressed and anxious healed more slowly.
Wow, so our thoughts and emotions can actually impact our physical healing.
Exactly. It all comes back to the mind-body connection. Our thoughts and beliefs can have a profound impact on our physical health and longevity. He even talks about suggestive therapy, where people experience real physical changes just by believing in the power of treatment, even if it was just a placebo.
So the placebo effect is real.
It seems so. The mind is incredibly powerful, and that's what makes Maltz's work so empowering. It suggests that we have more control over our health and longevity than we might realize.
So it's not about passively accepting aging as inevitable.
No. By managing stress, cultivating positive emotions, and nurturing our life stuff, we can extend not just our lifespan, but our health span, the number of years we live in good health and vitality.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on aging. It's not about dreading getting older. It's about making choices that support a long and vibrant life.
Exactly. Maltz encourages us to stay active both physically and mentally, even as we age. He also emphasizes the importance of having a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. He found that people who have something to look forward to, who feel like they're making a contribution, tend to live longer and healthier lives.
That makes sense. Having a reason to get out of bed in the morning gives us energy and keeps us engaged with life. So it's not just about adding years to our lives, but adding life to our years.
You got it. And ultimately, that's what Maltz believed. True longevity is all about living a life filled with purpose, joy, and connection. It's about making the most of every moment and leaving a positive impact on the world.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired. This deep dive into psycho-cybernetics has been a real eye-opener. I'm starting to see how much power we have to shape our own realities, achieve our goals, and live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you. Remember, the power to create the life you desire lies within you.
To all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and tools to create the life you truly deserve. What will you choose to create?
Keep exploring the boundless possibilities of your own mind. Until next time.
See you on the next deep dive.